Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live interactive web television. This is a platform which belongs to you. All of us can interact with us as we have our conversations. You can participate live simply by clicking on a participation request button. You can also send us your posts, send us your video comments on IndiaPostLive.com, and of course send us your tweets at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. I'm Nilanjana Banerjee, and today we are going to talk about the threat that South Asia is facing, especially just a few days after that horrific incident that happened on the Pakistan side of the Wagha border, in which more than 60 people were killed. Now, the group that has claimed responsibility for the murders, Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, the spokesperson of that group, Ehsanullah Ehsan, has tweeted that India is in its sights and that the message was conveyed, the attack was actually a message to both the governments of Pakistan and India. It also said that revenge would be taken for Kashmir and Gujarat and that a message had been sent to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We are going to talk about the threat, the new threat that is being faced. You can see on your screen that tweet that was posted by the spokesperson of the Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, Ehsanullah Ehsan, where he's talked about the revenge against that is going to be taken for Kashmir and Gujarat. Gujarat, you will notice, is misspelt, but that is the tweet that has come out, and that has definitely caused alarm in among the Indian intelligence and security agencies. You will also remember that a few days back we had a show on the ISIS flags and banners being waved on the streets of Srinagar. And we had Vicky Nanjappa and Rahul Bhonsle on that show, and both of them said that the bigger threat is that of what is happening in West Bengal's Bardhaman. So definitely South Asia is something that, the situation in South Asia is not a very happy one when it comes to terrorist threats. And the fact that India it's been openly proclaimed by these terror groups that India is next. I have with me online Jamil Shaheen. Jamil Shaheen is a political analyst, a political observer. I have with me Enam Nasir. Enam joins us all the way from Lahore. She is a senior research analyst at Spearhead Research. I have both these people joining us. I also have, through a participation request, Aneet Mittal. Aneet also wants to share his opinion with us. Thank you so much. And again from Pakistan, I have Abdullah Nizamani. Abdullah is a lawyer and a political commentator. Welcome to the show, all four of you. Let me start with Jamil Shaheen. Sir, you know what has happened, this tweet that has happened, and definitely the Indian security and intelligence forces are taking this very, very seriously. How real is this threat? Should India be bracing itself for a terror attack really soon?
The question is, you have to learn by the past. And terrorism is such a thing that you just cannot take things casually.
Yes.
Something has happened. You can give credit to your intelligence and security agencies that perhaps they have not been able to cross over to India. But as they have openly said it, that the target was India.
Yes.
So you have to be alert and your vigil has to be very high. And as you have rightly put it, the whole of the South Asia is under threat. So I will suggest that all the countries involved should cooperate with each other, because ultimately innocent lives are being taken, and we may call it senseless or whatever it is, but a lot of violence is taking place and innocent people, targets are the innocent people. And terrorism is all about making news.
Absolutely.
The question is, terrorists, they are not able to occupy a territory, they cannot control a territory. Their only aim is to make news. And unfortunately or fortunately, media is always obliging them. So they only have to create a news, and that news is created when innocents are being killed.
Okay, let me bring Enam here. Enam Nasir, as I said, is a senior research analyst at Spearhead Research and joins us from Lahore. Enam, welcome to India Post Live. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me. It's actually Enam. My name is Enam.
Enam. All right. What does it mean?
Yeah.
Before we move on to more serious topics, what does Enam mean?
A blessing.
A blessing, definitely. And it is definitely a blessing to have you to talk about this entire situation in South Asia. So tell us, you know, both India and Pakistan have been victims of terror attacks. There is a lot of political rhetoric that goes on when we talk of the K word. The K word has been internationalized at several forums, especially in the United States General Assembly. Once again, your Prime Minister brought it up. Once again, the word, the Kashmir issue has been brought to the fore. However, no one can deny that both your country and mine are victims of terror. Now, with this blast, where do you see the situation really placed? The Tehreek, you know, the TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, this is after all a splinter group of that. So, and you know, the fact that perhaps Pakistani intelligence had some inkling that there would be an attack. So, can you just sum up the entire situation for that as you see it, Enam?
Okay, thank you. You're being far too kind with my name and its meaning. The thing about terrorism is that obviously it's a great threat.
Yeah.
It stands in the way of progress. It takes the attention away from issues that are of greater concern.
Yes.
Issues that we, you know, should be focusing on instead. And as a fellow commentator just said, that, you know, you give them media footage and you oblige them, and that is how they go all prima donna on you. So with the entire episode at Wagha, obviously it brings us great sadness. It's during the month of Muharram.
Yes.
Obviously we're all in mourning, and it's a great issue. Pakistan-India relations, because obviously you see it happening at Wagha border, which is symbolic. The timing is symbolic. But the thing is that peace in this region will come.
Enam? Okay, I think the video has frozen there. We'll try and reconnect. Abdullah Nizamani, if you're there, we've just lost Enam there for some time. But then, Abdullah, are you there? All right. Both we seem to have lost both our guests from Pakistan. Let me get back to Jamil Bhai. Sir, you know what Enam said, that it was the month of during Muharram when everyone was in mourning, and such an attack, especially just at the end of the flag lowering ceremony. What does that indicate really?
Actually, that is the time when most of the people are there to watch that ceremony.
Yeah.
Because it's very interesting. I have also seen it on the TV.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that both the pops making gestures and a little comical also.
Yeah.
At the same time, people do watch it with kid interest, and you have a lot of crowd.
Right.
And as terrorists have to, their target is always to make a bigger news, and bigger news they make only by killing a bigger number of people, larger number of people. So that way they have succeeded in doing it. But at the same time,
you know, the fact that they came to our border and killed so many people, scores of people, albeit in the Pakistani side, but the fact is they reached our border.
No, they reached our border, but they have not been able to cross over to this side.
Yeah.
The thing is, within their border, they have killed their own people. We feel very sad about it and really bad about it. But इसमें, as they say, कल उनकी तो आज उनकी तो कल हमारी बारी है. So terrorists will always try to strike on this side of the border also. So this is a high time that we just raise our alarm.
Right. Okay. Enam, can I get you back? Can you just complete what you were saying? I think we have you back now. Please complete what you were saying then.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I was just saying that, you know, peace in the region is going to come from recognizing common threats. I mean, you need a cohesion in goals. You need mutually shared goals. You cannot go on blaming one party or the other for acts of terrorism. I mean, you do understand that terrorists, they do not have any kind of regret for what they do. They can obviously not be state-sponsored. I mean, you do realize that because more than 50 of our own people just lost their lives, and it's pretty symbolic. You have to look at the timing. You have to look at the place. It's not just your border, it's our border.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
our border. Those are our people. Those are children. They're, old people. And irrespective of what age they are people. And we care about them. I would say that this happened, and it should, it's a bad thing. It's a tragedy, and it should affect both of us. Why are you just, othering, otherizing people? I don't understand that.
I'm not otherizing anyone, Enam. All I'm trying to say is that the fact that there is a threat not just to Pakistan but also to India. I'm talking of South Asia. The fact is that they have sent a very clear message.
South Asia.
I'm talking of both our nations.
You speak for South Asia.
I'm speaking for Bangladesh.
But you also
I'm speaking
understand that phobia should not stand in the way of making real progress. Now, to attack India, you need to realize that these people are also a problem for Pakistan.
Absolutely. That's exactly what...
They're also a problem for Pakistan.
Yeah.
And that is how you come towards mutually shared goals.
Exactly.
That is how you come towards mutually shared goals.
Yes, and that is what both our prime ministers have been saying. They have been saying that both of us...
And the K word, why not just call it Kashmir?
No, I was doing
why
it
is
for...
it such a taboo?
No, I was doing it for dramatic effect. Trust me.
I do understand. It was...
I said Kashmir later.
I do understand it was tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, no, of course.
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
do
trying
understand
to say,
it was tongue-in-cheek, but just call it Kashmir.
Enam, what I'm saying is that both our countries are victims of terrorism, but somehow Kashmir seems to be the impediment in bringing both the countries closer to fight the menace together. I'm asking you this question. Is this how it is? Is this how you look at it? Both of us are victims of terror, but Kashmir seems to be the impediment in both our countries actually working together to combat terrorism.
But you see, coming up, I'll reiterate on what I just said. If you're figuring out mutually shared goals, which means that peace in the region is one of them, right? Because you have this unique window of opportunity here with one common enemy.
Right. Okay.
Has this ever happened before?
Right.
Ever.
Okay.
You have one common enemy. Why should Kashmir stand in the way of you figuring out one overarching policy framework in order to further your bilateral cooperation? Region can reap the dividends of Pakistan, India, cordial relations.
All right, your point taken.
The whole region has dividends to
Enam, your point taken. Let me go across to Abdullah Nizamani now. I think he's there with us. I had lost him last time. Hi, Abdullah, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. Of course, Enam is talking of both the countries, now more than ever working together to work towards the larger goal of peace. But my question is, the fact that such a tweet was sent, the fact that India recognizes the threat as very, very real now, as Jamil Bhai just put it. How do you see the situation unfolding in your own country after this terror attack? Abdullah, you there? All right. I think we have again There seems to be a network problem there. Jamil bhai, do you, can I get back to, do you agree with what Enam has said that, you know, the only way out is, are you there, Jamil bhai? All right. Enam, can I, okay, Jamil bhai, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what Enam said, she said that the only way out is for both the countries to focus on... Jamil bhai, please go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Could you please repeat?
I said what Enam has talked about is that this attack has happened on Pakistani soil, on the other side of the border, and this can once again be an opportunity for both the countries to fight the menace together, focusing on the larger goal of peace. Your reaction to that, your comment on that?
I have been, this is a very welcome thing she has said. A very sane person on both sides of the border.
Absolutely.
Will definitely appreciate it and welcome it. But the thing is that things are not happening. Now just forget about K issue. They want to call it Kashmir. Please settle Sar Creek issue. Great in principle about everything, but they are not even able to clear that. Kashmir is a far thing. And Kashmir is just to create animosity between the two countries. Had there not been a Kashmir issue, there would have been something else. The thing is, we recently made a purchase of, approved purchase in our union government, approved a purchase of 80,000 crores of defense equipment. You are not on the same side, same bulletin falling in loss, and you are not able to absorb 20,000 crore loss for the sake of people to give them cheap gas. But you are forced to stop out 80,000 crores. So that is the whole gamut. The people from whom we are going to buy it, they will not allow us to settle things. They will not allow us to be together. Now this is the fourth generation warfare, what is happening now, behind the lines of each other.
Right. If we were to talk about the terror groups, you know, for example, the Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, it's a recent group. In fact, it's a splinter group of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and there was a dispute and it moved apart. It is led by Maulana Omar Khorasani. He was a former commander of the TTP, and Al-Zawahiri, in fact, the Ayman Zawahiri, who is the chief of Al-Qaeda, Khorasani is supposed to be close to him. And Al-Zawahiri has created a new subcontinental wing of the Al-Qaeda, in which, you know, there is a very, very serious and direct involvement of the Indian Mujahideen, the IM. You have seen what is happening in Bengal, what happened at Bardhaman, you know, the terror attacks there, what has happened in Pakistan. So, what kind of a destabilization are we looking at here? And do you think the new government that has come in will in any way be able to nip this menace in the bud before a terror attack happens? I'm not trying to be a panic mongerer here, but I'm just asking these issues because it is definitely a cause of alarm.
You see, there are certain advantages with the terrorist.
Yeah.
He chooses the target, mode of attack. So it's very difficult for the intelligence agencies and other security agencies to keep always track of these things. But at the same time, we have to try our best to prevent all these, whatever is expected to happen. But at the same time, be mentally prepared that these terrorists are there. They will continue to strike and will continue to strike back against them. But now terrorism, unless the civilized society really rises against it, and then they are really able to pinpoint what is the fountain of terrorism. This is very important if you just try to understand what I am trying to point out. The fountainhead of terrorism is somewhere else, and then they operate somewhere else. So unless we are able to pinpoint the fountainhead and plug that fountainhead, terrorism will continue, and terrorists will have one shop here, another shop here. These groups will continue to mushroom.
All right, let me go across to Enam now. Enam, there has always been a contention from the Indian side that the government of Pakistan is never doing enough to bring these people to book, is never doing enough to kind of, control these groups. What would you like to say about that?
I really think that it's time that we start to move forward.
How?
And amend our narrative, because the Pakistani side is working day in and day out to curb the menace of terrorism. Zarb-e-Azb has been a success thus far. We've achieved great milestones, and I think we need to realize that reality is very interconnected. It's very interconnected. Your fate, India's fate, is tied with Pakistan's fate. Pakistan's fate is tied with India's fate, is tied with Afghanistan's fate. And terrorism, to be honest, it knows no boundaries. It knows no borders. If Pakistan suffers because of terrorism, India is going to obviously be affected. It's in the same region.
Okay, you talked of Afghanistan, Enam. The fact that
Yes.
the US forces have begun, their drawdown.
Pull out.
Yeah, they pull out. Do you think now is the time for these jihadi groups to now turn their attention towards India? Because there has been a lot of infiltration of these groups from Afghanistan into Pakistan.
Okay, I got your point. There was a bit of a disturbance, but what you're trying to get at probably was that
I'm asking if Pakistan-based jihadi groups could turn their attention to India now that the US is begun pulling out of Afghanistan. That's my question.
Well, can you really distinguish now which terrorist group is based where anymore? I mean,
yeah, of course, ISIS and
Al-Qaeda.
That's exactly what I just said. That's exactly what I said. Yes,
they're coming together. They're coming together, and here we are discussing our differences. I mean, Al-Qaeda in South Asia, the South Asia chapter, if you call it that, it's a matter of concern for everyone in South Asia, not just India. We've lost innocent lives, all of us. These are people, humans with stories, dreams, aspirations, hopes, careers, families. I mean, they're all important to us. If something happens in India, you think it's only Nigerians.
No, absolutely.
It's not. I beg to differ. I'm sorry, I beg to differ here.
All right. Let me bring in Aneet now, if Aneet can hear me. Aneet, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think I can hear Aneet. All right. Let me just go across to Jamil Bhai for last comments. I was talking about the fact that the way terror groups are moving now, the fact that Ayman al-Zawahiri has started a subcontinent faction of the Al-Qaeda, the involvement of the Indian Mujahideen, the polarization with the Islamic State, the IS, all these factors, coming together for not just India and Pakistan, but also, Bangladesh and Nepal and all the entire region. What is the best way forward? Because SAARC doesn't seem to really, be very successful as far as this is concerned. What is the best way forward now to tackle this menace?
As Ainam has put it very rightly, and that is the voice of sanity.
Voice of sanity, of course, yeah.
To cooperate with each other. Because if they are trying to put up a joint front, and those who are victims, who are being threatened, why shouldn't we unite for this cause? I think we should forget about everything else. First, we must concentrate on this thing.
No, but you know, in the studio, it's 3 or 4 sane people talking together. How does the government, you know, how do we get the governments to really work on this, especially in the aftermath of the firing that happened at the IB in Jammu, where, you know, India was categorical. India said that we are going to, you know, not sit with our heads bowed. We are going to give it back. You know, it was a very, very aggressive stance that the government of India took after the firing. So in a situation like that, when there is still an atmosphere of mistrust, when there is still an atmosphere of, you know, where people do not trust and are not willing to come together for talks, so how on earth do we get together to resolve this?
I think there is an old wisdom that if you are not able to come together yourself, then time will bring you together.
All right. All right.
So of the things to come. Ultimately, sooner or later, we will have to come together and fight this village. And there is a lot else also we can be done together. But the only thing is that saner elements have to prevail on both sides.
Right. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Enam, let me get final comments from you. Like I said, like he said, time, destiny, if it's in our destiny, then time will ensure that both the countries get together and talk. And not just both the countries, all of us in South Asia get together to tackle the menace. Your last comments, Enam. All right, we seem to have lost Enam there. And can I try Abdullah once more? Is Abdullah... Okay, Enam, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Enam. I thought I had lost you.
Okay, I think it's okay. I think a good place to begin is trying to figure out the same thing that I said before, trying to figure out an overarching policy framework, which is going to be actually a confidence building measure, because both parties can come forth with their inhibitions, with the problems that they have, with their own sensibilities, and articulate them in a very reasonable manner, be honest with each other, and then we can probably figure something out that is going to be a real confidence building measure. You had something, you had the possibility of one back in the Musharraf days, but Musharraf had some issues at home, so obviously you couldn't go through with it. But maybe the time is again to give it another go. It another go, and it just reminds me of what Martin Luther King once said, that the interconnected nature of reality is such that I cannot be what I want to be unless you become what you ought to become.
Absolutely. Very well put there, Enam. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, let me get you some...
Pleasure.
Let me get you some... No, please be online. Let me get you some video comments that we have gotten. The first video comment I'm going to play for you is by security analyst Amir Mughal, and he sends us this comment from Pakistan. Take a look.
I won't go into the point scoring and score settling at this juncture. It was a very tragic incident at Wagha, and one must appreciate the way Indian government responded, particularly Mr. Modi condoled with those who lost their lives and with the families of those who lost their loved ones. And I would again reiterate my earlier suggestion, which I made in earlier segments of this India Post Live, on ISIS and Daesh and use of social media by the militants. I would request again that Pakistan and India should immediately come back to the dialogue and resolve this matter amicably, instead of saber rattling on media and newspapers and via issuing statements, jingoism. This won't help anyone. And this latest threat from the alleged so-called Jaisal and Sahar and whatever it is, that both the government would be attacked, both the countries would be attacked, is it is a very serious matter. And instead of doing politics on this serious issue, which involves innocent lives, the government of Pakistan and India should immediately come back to dialogue. Immediately. The government of India and Pakistan should decide to wind up this cheap show of jingoism at Wagah daily. I fail to understand what purpose this ceremony serves. The way we conduct this ceremony. It should be less jingoist and less warmonger in nature. It would be a big favor if we wind up this show of warmongering.
All right. Amir Mughal there saying that the flag lowering ceremony itself is warmongering jingoism. All right. Is Enam still online with us? Enam, if you're still online, very quickly a yes or no question to you. Do you agree that what Amir Mughal says, that the flag lowering ceremony is after all warmongering jingoism and it must be stopped altogether? I can't hear you, Enam. I've lost your audio. All right, Enam, we'll try and get back to you. And if we can't, I request Enam Nasir to please post us her comments on that question that I asked on indiapostlive.com. Our next video comment is from Sagat Shaunik. Sagat is a research scholar at IIT Bombay, and this is what he has to say about the issue.
Following the incident at Wagha, India's preparedness is thorough. Threats to homeland security are a regular affair. Therefore, we need to have continuous intelligence inputs with real-time surveillance in known hotspots, while early warnings are verified and planned for. Border security is already on stand too in these areas. There is public and political support, so the likelihood of manufacturing fear or threat to internal security in India is diminished. Terror outfits and their handlers must understand that they need to change their ways with the times. Negotiation cannot happen at gunpoint, while dialogue is the only solution. India is not afraid, and we will not come across with our tail between our legs.
All right. India is not afraid is what research scholar from IIT Bombay, Sagat Shaunik, has said. Enam, can you hear me now? Okay, I think
can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you. A quick yes or no question. We're running out of time. Do you agree with what Amir Mughal said, that the entire flag lowering ceremony itself is warmongering jingoism that should be stopped altogether?
I actually did quite enjoy the flag raising ceremony at Wagah. I've been going as a child. Multiple times I've been there. I don't really have an issue as such with it, because patriotism is good. Being competitive is also good. But I see this more as like a policy problem, policy inaction, as far as making Pakistan and India relations, cementing them, strengthening them. That is a greater problem than a simple flag-raising ceremony. I don't see it as a bad thing necessarily.
All right. Thank you so much. Enam. It was great having you on India Post Live. And that's all we have time for. But thank you so much. I would request all of you who watch this show to send us your comments and your responses on indiapostlive.com, your tweets at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. Thanks so much for watching. The threat of terrorism is very real in the whole of South Asia, and we all need to be alert. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.